Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you guys are doing wonderful today. And I'm sure all of you are excited and glad to learn more about computer science. So, a component of computer science contains of if and else if statements. Right now, you might not know about them, but if you're going into the computer science field, you will get to understand how they work. And all languages, all coding languages, have if and else if statements. So I will show you, so for the portion of the IG day, you're supposed to design a game in which you have to use if and else if statements to portray the rules of your game. I will show you a demonstration real quick with a game that almost all of you have played, that is Snakes and Ladders, and I will explain to you how if and else if statements could be used as rules. So these statements are used to tell the computer, if this happens, then do this. Else if this happens, then you should do that. So they serve as a guide of things that a computer can and can't do. So the materials needed for this portion would be a paper, a pencil, and possibly someone to play with. You could design your own game or rewrite the rules of a game that you have already played. So I will show you a quick demonstration with the game of Snakes and Ladders. I believe that you guys have played this, so I will show you, first I'll go through the rules, how they work in if and else if statements. So let's say I roll the die and it gives me a 2. So that means if I roll a number, let's say if I roll the 2, then move 2 spaces, you can see that this object moved 2 spaces. And then I'll roll again and see I get a 5. So this time, since I got a 5, the object will move 5 spaces. And as you can see, the blue object over here landed on 4. And since there was a staircase, you could say if there is a staircase, then the object will move through the end of the staircase. The similar thing happens when there are snakes. Let's say I landed on 49 and a snake bit me. So I would tell the computer, be like, if the object gets bitten by a snake, then they should move downwards. So let's say you're not playing Snakes and Ladders, and if you want to play Uno, you could be like, you're just playing a game with someone else and you put a draw 4. And then let's say you're designing a game for like Uno game for a computer, and the computer doesn't know what a draw 4 is. You have to tell it that if player 1 puts draw 4, then give 4 cards to the next player. So in that way, one of the professors at the beginning of computer science would always used to tell me that computers are dumb. They don't know anything. So as the programmers or the coders or software engineers, we have to tell the computer what to do. And we have to be very specific, since with humans, we can be like, do that, and they will know what exactly to do. However, computers don't work that way. So we must tell them that do this and be very specific with the stuff. Since all of you haven't had the coding experience, you won't know right now, but in the future, if you aren't specific about what you want your computer to do, then your code will not work and possibly lead to like a crash or some sort of error, and then you have to figure out where you went wrong, and you have to be very specific with the place you went wrong. So if else statements are very basic, and they're used in almost actually all of the computer languages. I have coded in Java, C++, and a little bit of Python. And in all of them, they have used if and else statements, and they have proved to be a very important aspect of the program. And they are actually like save a lot of time. So instead of doing all sorts of stuff, you could section your program into like if and else if statements, saying like, if the player rolled a 3, then move 3 places. If the player rolled a 5, then move 5. If the player lands on a snake, then the player comes down to the tail of the snake. Else, if the player lands on a staircase, then the player goes up the staircase. These are very basic, and right now you might understand it. It's used in everyday life. So computers also use it. Once you get the hang of it, it's not that bad. I think if and else statements are fun, you can do all sorts of stuff with them. You could I could even show you a demonstration of how it works in like an online compiler thing. So if I just look up, let's say, a Java compiler, and then go into an online compiler, and this is Java code. Now let's say I want to create a method. You won't know about this right now, so don't worry about the code and stuff. So let's say I want a number equals, let's say I made the number be 5. So I could do if number equals 1, then I want to print out, like, let's say number is 1. However, we could just do the same thing and be like, else if the number is a 2, then I want to print out that the number is a 2. And I could go on and on about this, and do like 4 and 5. And this is like how an if and else if branch works in a typical code. And I could do if number equals 5, then I could print out a 5. And let's see how this works. If I'm running it, it should print out the number is 5. As you can see, it did. However, let's say if I change the number, I could do let's say number is not known. Let's pretend that the only numbers that this computer knows is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if I were to put like a 6 here, then the computer will go through if number equals 1, then it will print out 1. Otherwise, it will go to the 2 branch and see if it equals 2. And then if it doesn't, then it will go down to 3. And if it doesn't, it will go down to 4. And at the end of the statement, it will go down to the very last line and it would print out the number is not known. And then let's say I just did a 5 here, and then that should print out that the number is 5. So that's how an if else if works on a compiler. Hopefully you enjoyed this little video and you got to learn how if and else if statements work with computer and games. So now get to designing your own games using if and else if statements. Enjoy your day.